Hey everybody, Nick Espinoza, your chief security fanatic here. And today in smart car technology, which is most of the cars on the road these days, not just the EVs, we have a very serious problem because we are being data mined to the nth degree, and that is being turned over to the insurance companies, and this ain't good. Now, here's what's going on, and this is coming from DNYUZ. I do not know the author's name, unfortunately, but we have to start with LexisNexis. You may have heard of them, but you may not necessarily know what they do. Now, LexisNexis is a New York-based global data broker with a risk solutions division that caters to the auto insurance industry and has traditionally kept tabs on things like car accidents, tickets, all that kind of stuff. But because our cars are so interconnected and online, our cars are essentially phoning home to the automakers about everything we're doing, and the automakers are then sending that to LexisNexis, who are in turn essentially selling it to insurance carriers. Now, LexisNexis analyzes driving data to basically create a risk score quote for insurers to use as one factor of many to create more personalized insurance coverage. That is according to LexisNexis spokesman Dean Carney. Now, in recent years, insurance companies have offered incentives to people who install those like little dongles, into the OBD2 port into their cars, or you download smartphone apps that monitor you while you're driving. Those things include how much you drive, basically how fast you're taking corners, how hard you're braking, whether you're speeding, you're doing 90 in the school zone, that kind of thing. But, quote, drivers are historically reluctant to participate in these programs, end quote. That's according to Ford Motors, in terms of a patent application that it describes what's happening instead. Car companies are collecting information directly from internet-connected vehicles for use by the insurance industry. And to be perfectly honest, Ford is correct. I have car insurance. They said, "Oh, why don't you install our app?" And I said, "Hell no, I don't want your app on my phone. That thing is going to monitor me left and right. Absolutely not. I'll pay you by written check if I can. I don't want any of this kind of stuff around me because you don't need to know where I'm going or what I'm doing. You just need to insure my car." Now, here's the thing. Sometimes this data collection from your car is happening without your awareness or your consent, and that is a huge problem. Car companies have established relationships with insurance companies so that if drivers want to sign up for what they call usage-based insurance, that's where rates are set based on monitoring of your driving habits, it's easy to collect that data wirelessly from your car. So if you're saying, "Oh yeah, I'm a slow poke, I drive like a snail, I'm grandma behind the wheel," and you're sitting there Dukes of Hazzarding over everything, that's a huge problem. In other instances, something much sneakier is actually happening. Modern cars are internet enabled, allowing access to services like navigation, roadside assistance, and car apps that drivers can connect their vehicles to and locate them, unlock them remotely, all that kind of stuff. When I recently bought a new car, they basically said, "Hey, do you want to get in on the online smart app, whatever?" And my answer was, "Hell no, I don't want any of that because you're going to know exactly what I'm doing with my car. Can we remove that from the vehicle?" Now, in recent years, automakers, including General Motors, who has multiple brands, Honda, multiple brands, Kia, multiple brands, and Hyundai, multiple brands, have started offering optional features in their connected car apps that now rate people's driving. Some drivers may not realize that if they turn on these features, the car companies then give information about how they're driving to the data brokers like LexisNexis and their competitors. Now, automakers and data brokers have partnered to collect detailed driving data from millions of Americans who say that they basically, and they say they have the permission to do this. And we'll get to one of those examples because quite frankly, it's shocking what they got on this guy. But interestingly enough, the existence of these partnerships is nearly invisible to you and I, the drivers. Our consent basically is obtained in fine print and murky privacy policies that pretty much nobody is reading. That's especially troubling is that some drivers with vehicles made by General Motors say that they are tracked even when they did not turn on the feature called OnStar. And so that basically, they saw their insurance rates going up as well. So you didn't even opt in for OnStar. You didn't turn it on. You declined it when you bought the car or, whatever. And it's still collecting data on you and it's giving it back to Chevy, or GM, I should say. Chevy being their major brand. Now, even those who opt in the risks are far from clear. Now, the author of this article, again in DNYAUZ, and again, I do not know his or her name, basically stated, and I quote, "I have a GM car, a Chevrolet. I went through the enrollment process for Smart Driver. There was no warning or prominent disclosure that any third party would get access to my driving data." End quote. Now, policymakers are now expressing concerns about the collection of sensitive information from consumers' cars. California's privacy regulator, who quite frankly, California right now is the best of all 50 states when it comes to this kind of stuff, is currently investigating automakers' data collection practices. And last month, Senator Ed Markey of Massachusetts also urged the Federal Trade Commission to investigate as well. I'm all for that. Thank you, Senator Markey. So here's how they truly get us. Now, after LexisNexis gets data from your car, they sell that information on basically how you're driving to insurance companies. That's what we know. I literally just talked about that. Hopefully you were paying attention. But here's the kicker. To access that data, the insurance companies must get consent from you. Say when you go basically out shopping for car insurance and then sign off on boilerplate language that gives that insurance company the right to then pull third-party reports. So you go in and you're shopping, Nationwide, whoever, State Farm, take your pick, and they say, oh yes, well, we need to pull your reports. Please sign this consent form so that we can pull your records. And they're going to LexisNexis with your consent, and you don't even realize this because you think, oh, well, they're just looking up like the DMV. That's what I would think. How many tickets have I had? That kind of thing. Now, FYI and side note, insurance companies commonly ask basically for access to consumers' credit or risk reports, though they are barred from doing so in California, Massachusetts, Michigan, and Hawaii. So good on you if you live in one of those states. We here in Illinois don't have that luxury apparently, as do the other 46 states or commonwealths. So if you want to understand just how bad this is, let's look at the example offered by the article. And we're going to talk about Mr. Ken Doll, and I'm assuming no relation to Ken Doll from the movie or the little plastic figure, age 65. He was surprised that in 2022, basically his cost of his car insurance went up by 21%. Now, quotes from other insurance companies when he went shopping were also high as well. And so one insurance agent, when he went shopping, said that his LexisNexis report was that factor. So upon Mr. Dahl's request, LexisNexis sent him a 258-page consumer disclosure report, which it must provide per the Fair Credit Reporting Act. Now, what that contained actually stunned him. So more than basically 130 pages detailing each time he or his wife had driven their Chevy Bolt over the previous 6 months. That included the dates of 640 trips that they had taken, either together or one individual, their start and end times, the distance driven, and the accounting of speeding, hard braking, or sharp accelerations. So you floor it to get away from something, they're seeing that, but maybe they don't have eyeballs on it because they can't, that, oh my God, I was flooring to get away from the accident that was about to basically involve me, or I'm slamming on the brakes because I'm trying not to hit the neighborhood cat, that kind of thing. There's no context. They just see, oh, it's hard braking. Maybe he's got an issue. Maybe he's not paying attention. Maybe he's exactly paying attention. Now, the only thing that report didn't have on Mr. Dahl or apparently his wife was where they had actually driven the car. So, as an example, this past June on a Thursday morning, their car had been driven 7.33 miles in 18 minutes. There had been 2 rapid accelerations and 2 incidents of hard braking during that 18-minute, 7.33 mile journey. That's how detailed this thing gets. And so that's where we are with this. This is, I think, absolutely ridiculous. And I do not basically enable the OnStars or the, a driver assistance, all that kind of stuff, the SOS or whatever it's called, because I know that they're going to data mine you on that. And they don't need to know what I'm doing. And they may still be getting it, even though my car, may not have all of that. I miss the days back of you get an old car, hey, I would move back to like a 1968 something if it was reliable, because, okay, great, it's got an AM radio. You're not getting anything on me. And as long as I'm not installing the apps from the insurance company, then basically it's much harder to data mine me as I'm driving, let alone know it's me. So with that, if you want to protect yourself in some way, shape, or form, or at least get aware of this, is one, go get your consumer disclosure report from LexisNexis under the Fair Credit Reporting Act. I'm going to do that myself, and I'm very curious to see what happens, and I'll probably share with all of you those results. Also, any good results, by the way, because if I'm hard braking and accelerating all the time, and I do have a bit of a lead foot, not that I'd ever admit that to an insurance company, and if you are an insurance company watching this, I am totally lying just for amusement's sake, but you can do that, and the other thing you can do is disable this stuff as best you can. You really need to start your car from an app, and that's the problem that we've got. So there you go. I'll leave it at that, but this is absolutely and utterly ridiculous. We are being data mined in what should be private time for ourselves, and if we're not getting into accidents, then so be it. But sometimes we have to accelerate hard, sometimes we have to brake hard, and that shouldn't be any of their business unless we get into an accident. And there you go. That's my 2 cents. I would imagine that pretty much all of you are going to agree with me, unless you own an insurance agency. I don't know. Please like, share, follow me here on Facebook and Twitter at NickAESP, and please feel free to subscribe to me at YouTube as well. And as always, stay safe, stay online, and please attempt to stay private, and hopefully I'll recover my voice for next time. Take care.